Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 58 on February 11th, 2024. From your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper for only $11.99 versus a regular price of $19.99 for a total savings of $800. This limited time super discount basically is 52 weeks at $23 per week, less than the price of one 4% play, coming out to only $3.29 per day. With the cost of a 30-day all-access priced at $2.99, it is almost like getting 8 30-day all-access passes at no additional cost. As an added bonus, your all-access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl, the more additional days you get for free.
Hey guys, welcome in Thursday, February 9th. I almost said January there. Thursday, February 9th. Happy to be here on Wager Talk TV with all of you guys. I, of course, am Andrew McGinnis, and this is Puck Time. I have Carmine and Bryan with me today. Of course, Bryan joining us in his usual Thursday spot. We're super thankful that Bryan's been filling in a lot, though, and now you guys have seen him a lot more than just Thursdays recently. I want to say thank you to all of you guys for all the comments, whether it's Twitter, on the YouTube, on the podcast. Yesterday, I felt pretty overwhelmed. I mean, a lot of you guys being very, very nice, tuning into the show. And, of course, it does help that we had a 3-0 best bet day on the show yesterday, especially with just the 2 games. So we'll try and build on that. We'll try and have a big day, the 3 of us. I think it's a really good slate to go over, some competitive games and some more lopsided games. But we do have the Oilers, Flyers, Avalanche, Tampa Bay Lightning, the Canucks and Islanders, and the Golden Knights, and the Minnesota Wild going head-to-head tonight. Should be some great games to break down. Carm, what did you think of last night's slate in the NHL?
Yeah, it was a quiet slate. So in what is going to become a regular feature on the show, what I liked, what I hated, and what surprised me, there wasn't much. I liked the fact I went 4-1 on the night for my clients. I hated the fact that Elias Pettersson couldn't get that third shot on goal, and he was sitting on 2 for a while. Couldn't get that third to give me the clean sweep, and no real surprises. I kind of wish that that game, the Minnesota-Dallas game, which stayed under the total and gave us a sweep on the best bets yesterday for myself, you and Marco. I kind of wish it had finished 3-2. I was going to give away a couple Puck Time T-shirts, but I'll just do that each and every show. I'll pick a score, and if a game lands on that score, we'll give something out to the guys, because you guys are always sharing some great information in our chat and the comments afterwards, and we really appreciate it. Andrew, only a couple games. Anything surprise you? Anything you liked? Anything you hated last night?
Obviously, like Rick Tocchet now over there, the head coach, Carm, of the Vancouver Canucks, and I know they lost the game, but they're actually keeping it respectable lately. I mean, I know that the only teams they've defeated are teams they probably already should have beat, right? The first win under Coach Tocchet was against the Blackhawks, right? Most teams are beating the Blackhawks these days, but I will say that I kind of did see a respectable effort out of the Vancouver Canucks yesterday. It might not have been a victory, but their games continue to go over the total, and they continue to kind of grind away and chip away at some of these games. So with how big of favorites the Rangers were, you could have actually made a play there on the plus 1.5 and made some money on Vancouver. But I wasn't happy that I had the team total under for the Canucks yesterday, and they got a goal with like 2 minutes to go. That frustrated me, but it was a 1-1 night. My play of the day was the under in the Dallas Wild game. So that was good, and I was happy to have that. But yesterday, when I was watching the games, usually I start my handicapping for the next night, like after the games are over. But I had some time to start breaking things down, and I really do like this slate. So look forward to breaking it down. Now let's bring Bryan Leonard in. Bryan has a 5% going tonight, 34-15. That's the record since you started handicapping the NHL. Very impressive, 34-15. Bryan, how are things with you, man?
Everything's going great. And you mentioned the 1.5 with Vancouver yesterday. That was our play in hockey. So that puts us 2-0 in the second half of the season. So happy with that. And the Dallas game looked like it was pretty obvious to me. And I think a lot of our cappers for hockey were on that. So that worked out well. And yeah, can't complain. Everything's going well. 17-7 overall run. College basketball has been terrific. NHL, the normal runs we're normally on, 71-44, I think now in the NHL. So yeah, everything's great. And you talked about the schedule today, and it is a great schedule. After only having 2 games yesterday, we not only get good games today, but we get good handicapping games, which is what we all like.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's sometimes it's nice to dial in on 2 games for sure. Like yesterday, you said, "Hey, Dallas stuck out to you." Vancouver plus 1.5 sticks out to you, but it's nice to have a big slate sometimes to kind of just go through and find some of those spots that you really, really do like. Before we jump into the show, I do want to mention again. I've talked about it on the show, but you talk about Dallas. Shop around, guys. If you're interested. I think Dallas Stars right now at 15-1, 14, all the way up until 13-1, I think is worth a look for the Stanley Cup right now. I think those odds to me just aren't what they should be. It's kind of disrespectful towards the Dallas Stars. They are a great defensive team, great goaltender. And I think that you look at some of the teams that you're getting a lot better odds on, and it's kind of a head scratcher. I think the Dallas Stars are a good defensive team. So any thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, and Andrew, anytime with the futures, and I answered someone, I think, in our comment section. I think it was Monday, or I was talking about the Colorado Avalanche and having picked them up during the when I was in Vegas on my last trip during the divisional playoffs. I was at Caesars on the Sunday, and I saw them up on the board at plus 900, and I'm like, I got to get that ticket. And someone, I think, commented and saying, "Well, let's not give the Avalanche the Stanley Cup already." And I'm not. When I play futures, I played futures a lot different than most people play futures, and my record at Wager Talk is great because of it. Is my futures, I base them on bigger priced odds that have value, that I believe the team can make it to the semifinals or finals, and once they get there, you're in a great hedging opportunity. People don't like to hedge futures. I do. You look at soccer, Italy 12-1 to win the Euros, Chelsea 20-1 to win the Champions League, Real Madrid last year 18-1 to win. Colorado were the odds-on favorites, I think, at plus 400 going into the season. You can get them at plus 900 in a season in which they've had injuries, and they're going to string some wins together and get into the playoffs. All they care about is making it into the playoffs, and this team, once they get there, will likely be the favorite in every single series that they play. So if they make it to the conference finals for the West, they are going to be the favorites. You can easily take whoever they're playing against at plus money and work out a profit there. And if they made it to the finals, at worst, against the best team in the East, it'll be one of those even money situations. So always look for futures that offer value for a team that you think can make it deep. And much like you're talking about, like Dallas, Andrew, at 13-1, if they make it to the conference finals, you can hedge that out. So just a thought on futures.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Carm. And it just presents good opportunities. A lot of times with these futures, even you're asking them just to win a round for you. And if you got good enough odds, you can kind of work with it from there. Go from the second round to the conference finals and all the way to the Stanley Cup, hopefully. Let's jump into our first game here today, guys. The Edmonton Oilers, Philadelphia Flyers here. This is a Philadelphia Flyers team that was a bet-on team for a lot of handicappers near the All-Star break or for their past 5 to 10 games. They were looking kind of respectable. They were playing well, very well coached. But I'm afraid I think that party might come to an end here. Philadelphia plus 160, Edmonton minus 190. Take a look at some of Edmonton's runs here right now. 8-1 their last 9 games and 5-0 their last 5 games on the road. However, they have not fared very well in Philadelphia. But to me, when I look at this Philadelphia team, I think that they were simply overachieving. And that isn't really saying much because they still weren't playing that well. I just think that teams weren't taking them very seriously. They had a goaltender that was carrying them quite a bit. And this is the part of the season where I think that there's no flat spots like this anymore. I think Edmonton does get up for this one. I think Edmonton does take this game seriously. However, I do want to take Philadelphia completely out of the picture and just rock with the team total over 3.5 for the Edmonton Oilers. Carm, you know the drill. When this team wins games, they score 4 goals. 5 against Detroit, 7 against Chicago, 4 against Vancouver, 5 against Tampa, 5 against Seattle, 4 against Vegas, 7 against San Jose. When this team wins games, they score goals. So I'll just take Philadelphia out of the picture here, take the team total over for Edmonton. What are you thinking here, Carm? Flyers play host to the Oilers.
Hate is such a harsh word. I don't hate a lot of things, but I hate that you just took my play, Andrew, because we don't discuss this before the shows, unfortunately. But an 8-0 run for the Edmonton Oilers, dating back to obviously before the All-Star break. It's one of those ones where we talk about trying not to catch a falling knife. This team is playing well right now, and even if you don't have the confidence in Jack Campbell and Skinner in goal, they are winning games and they're scoring goals. In those 8 victories they have scored, they have gone over the team total in each one of those. The team total in this game is 3.5 minus 145. All 8 games they've gone over the team total. The Flyers are still competing. We talked about it. Tortorella still has this team competing, but they're starting to lose games. And it's one of those things where I think they overproduced during the first half of the season when they went into the All-Star break with about 40 or 41 points. I just think this team is going to start to regress. I think those losses are just going to start to stack on top of each other. And with that, they're not always 2-1 losses like in the last game. I think against the Islanders, you're going to see some lopsided score lines, unfortunately, because the team doesn't have scoring throughout their 3 or 4 lines. They don't have that secondary scoring. So at some point, this team is going to wear down, and the Oilers are the right team to do it to them. So Oilers 2 points out of the Pacific, top spot in the Pacific that is held right now, by the Vegas Golden Knights. And the price on them, we mentioned that when they were about 8 or 9 back, we talked about the Vegas Golden Knights. We talked about the Edmonton Oilers, that they were going on a favorable schedule. The last 40 games, 19 against the bottom 4 and bottom 5 in both conferences. They're winning the games they're supposed to be winning. And I think this is another one that they're supposed to win, and they're going to win. And that team total over 3.5 for me as well, too. Brian?
Well, finally get to talk. Thank you very much, Marco D'Angelo. Didn't realize the baldness. You threw me off there for a minute. We've watched Edmonton so much over these years. We know this is an Edmonton team that anytime you think that they're gonna win and they're hot, now they're in a roll, we know what happens. They lose. They're 8-1 the last 9, as you mentioned. Here's their schedule to start off the month of February: Detroit, Philadelphia, Ottawa, Montreal, Detroit. They already beat Detroit in the first game 5-2 on Tuesday. I think if you play against Edmonton the next 4 games, you will make a profit. I think they go 2-2, and they're going to be a big favorite in most of these games. And I don't want any part of them. There's a lot of teams you could trust in certain situations. Edmonton's not one of them. They're not a team I trust. Philadelphia, you talked about them playing well lately, but they're starting to fade. Well, take a look at the last month for Philadelphia. When you take a look at expected goals and actual goals per 60, 5-on-5. The Flyers are plus 0.31 in actual goals and plus 0.11 in expected goals. So they're better than an average team over the last month. They may be not quite as good as they were a couple of weeks before that, but this is a team that Tortorella comes in there, and they've got an excellent coach. They've got players that play hard. He makes sure they play hard. And we got a team that I think has plenty of value here in Philadelphia. Don't know if it'll make my card, but I know I want nothing to do with Edmonton in this one.
It's a weird schedule for Edmonton. We'll see if they can take advantage of some of these lighter games. But as Brian said, there could be some upsets in the future here against this Oilers team if they don't put forward a full effort and they don't show up focused. Here's a better game to discuss, Brian, for us. A little bit more of a competitive and less lopsided odds here that we see with Colorado and Tampa Bay going head-to-head here this evening. The first time that these teams have met since last year in the Stanley Cup Final when Colorado took away the dreams of Tampa Bay going back to back to back. And I'm sure now this will be a game that they're certainly focused on. Tampa Bay minus 125 in this one, total at 6. Slightly looking towards the over in this one is where the money is going, it seems. What are your thoughts here as Tampa Bay hosts the Avalanche?
Yeah, this is something I always take a look at in playoff sports, which in the NBA, the NHL, baseball. When a team knocks you out of the playoffs, that's a game you have to circle. And they knocked them out of the championship. They beat them 4-2 in the championship last year. I know Tampa's got this game circled, and if you don't know that they have this game circled, just take a look at what they've done so far coming out of the All-Star break. They go to Florida, get blown out 7-1, and then they come home. And I've joked all season long about how San Jose's numbers are better than what they've shown. But San Jose is a team that can't hold a lead. Well, San Jose goes into Tampa, and San Jose upsets Tampa. So you got Tampa playing at home off 2 embarrassing losses, about to play what has to be to them probably the biggest game they played all season long, especially against a Western Conference team. Line's a little bit higher than what many people would project. It's at 125 now. If I could have got it at 115, it would have made my card, but I did use it as a play today for a free play, and I'm going to use it here on the show too. Is I like Tampa here. Colorado's been playing great, no doubt about it. But when you got a team that's motivated and off of back-to-back embarrassing performances and playing at home, give me Tampa Bay.
Lots of things add up to make you like this Tampa Bay Lightning side, that's for sure. And of course, they do play very well at home. They are off some frustrating games. Carm, what do you think here, Colorado and Tampa?
Yeah, I think it's tough to pick a side in this one. Listen, Tampa hasn't come out of the break looking good at all. That, as I mentioned in that game against San Jose, they blow that 3-0 lead, and they were on a 20-0 run when leading after one, and they lose that game. It when they put that stat up, and I saw that stat, it reminded me of like watching a football game on Sunday where the announcer says he hasn't missed from inside 40 yards in his last 50 attempts, and then the guy rings one off the goalpost or the crossbar. It's just, it's almost like the announcer's jinx, and San Jose comes back and wins that game in OT. But I think the total is the better play here. I like the under. It opened at 6, I think minus 125, and it's about 115 now. So about 10-cent drop off. And this is more about the fact that obviously Vasilevsky didn't have the best of games, but at the same time, Colorado's playing very well on the road defensively. The under has gone, their last 10 games, they've gone under the total in 9 of those games. They're playing some very good, there's some very good defense now. It's supposed to be Georgiev, obviously, for them tonight, and it should be Vasilevsky. I think Vasilevsky is confirmed for them. I'm going to go with the basically what the trend has been for Colorado on the road, which is playing tight defensive games. That last game that they played in Pittsburgh, they had numerous chances to bury the Pens in the first period and didn't do it. Kept Pittsburgh hanging around, and then Pittsburgh scores one late to send it to OT and then wins it in OT. So it's one of those ones where live by the sword, die by the sword sometimes, but I'm taking the under here. So give me under 6 as my play on this one.
I don't like to hear it, Carm, because you have been on a really good run, but I'm on the over here. I mean, take a look at the last game that each team played combined. They went a combined 1 for 10 on the power play. If they do get some power play opportunities again in this game, I think we it'd be tough to see any worse of a performance for them on the power play. And we talk about Tampa Bay choking that lead. Brian mentioned it with San Jose, but guess what? Colorado also choked a lead, right? Pittsburgh, they stepped it up, played a really good third period, and they played well, and they stole the game from Colorado. So it's not just one team coming in here motivated; it's both teams coming in, for lack of better words, probably pretty pissed off in this game. And I think that as much as we can see defensive hockey from these two clubs, I think we will see goals here, just based on the effort we saw in the last game and those chances not converting. And I think if those players had the exact same chances tonight, they might put the puck in. But Yeah, that
Well,
power play stuff really threw me off. A combined 1 for 10. One team goes 0 for 4. One team goes, I think, 1 for 6, was it? Something like that. So to me, that's a big factor is the power play.
yeah, and Andrew, you're right. Listen, I had the over in that game as a 5% play against with San Jose, and there were penalties in that game. And Tampa had, I think, six power plays. They were like one. I think they scored on their first or their second power play, and then after that, a lot of ozone possession time. They just could not get those power play goals. They just weren't going in. I was glad the game was tied at 3 early in the third period. I didn't have to sweat the over. And we're not talking about, just to go off on a bit of a tangent, we're not talking about the Florida game today against San Jose, but I've talked about San Jose in their last 20 games. They've gone over the total 16 of the 20 times, 16, 2-2 over the total. That total against Florida today is at 7. So the books, at least as far as this one, and probably rightfully so with those two teams, that it should be at 7, but the books are catching up as far as starting to juice at least the 6.5s. A little higher, or come up with some 7s in these San Jose Shark games.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, remember back in the day, there used to be 5.5s and maybe a 6. I mean, a 6 was like, wow, what's going on here? We're seeing a 6. Now it's 6.5s, and the 7s are kind of the new thing. And there was a period last year where I think we saw actually a decent amount of 7s. But this year, I think it's only been a handful. And we do have some info on the fact that from Ralph Michaels telling us that when you see 7s, they've been going under quite a bit recently. Whenever the bookmakers decide to jump it up to 7, it seems like it's always gone under. That number gets as high as a kid, and then all of a sudden you see a low-scoring contest. So we'll see what happens in that one tonight. But we talk about how respectable Vancouver's been playing, or I think that they kind of kept it close. But I do expect them to kind of fall apart in the second half of the season, especially after trading Bo Horvat. Let's jump into their game as the Canucks take on the New York Islanders here tonight. Islanders, of course, have won 2 straight. I've been happy not to be on both of those wins so far, and they just look like a brand new team. I mean, again, I don't want to overreact too much, guys, but this Islanders team just looks different right now. More opportunities are being opened up for other players. Their penalty kill looks good, and they're still that great defensive team with both 2 goalies, Sorokin and Varlamov. So Islanders laying some price here, though, minus 225, Vancouver plus 185. Of course, Vancouver on that back-to-back. Total at 6.5 here, which is kind of rare to see, Carm, with an Islanders game. What do you think in this one?
Andrew, this is quite possibly one of the tougher games to handicap. And I'm not talking about the teams, but the price, because the price is too high for me on the Islanders full game price. You can look at the regulation price. But I want to go puck line here, just because the Isles they look so different. They had one player and they look so different offensively. They're getting chances. They look good. And we mentioned Vancouver's on the second of a back-to-back. It's a tough one for them. Not only Vancouver, there's the Kraken are in similar positions where they're playing the three teams in the New York, New Jersey area, and against teams that are playing extremely well right now. I just think you're gonna get a Delia in goal tonight because was it that started? It was Spencer was in goal last night, so it's going to be Delia in goal here for them, and of course we're getting Sorokin. The Isles could cover this puck line just by winning 2-0 because they're playing so well defensively at home too. They could pitch the shutout tonight. I like the puck line here. Taking puck lines is always a dicey proposition because teams don't care about the puck line. They're perfectly happy winning 3-2, 4-3, what have you. But minus 1.5, and we're getting plus money, plus 115 on the Isles with Sorokin in goal, and a team that is on the upswing right now. That's who I'm going for. These are two teams heading in opposite directions. I'm going with the team heading in the right direction here. Minus 1.5, plus 115 on the Isles. Ryan?
Third game in 4 days here for Vancouver. The last 2 games, they go to overtime against the Devils, a team who's playing very well right now. They lose that game in overtime. And then last night against the Rangers, game goes down to the final minutes, 4-3 loss. So They also, even though they got tomorrow off, they got to play Detroit the next day. So it'll be 4 games in 6 days. So I think we got some chances here to go against this Vancouver team. Not that I like the way they're playing since the coaching change, but scheduling situations, it's a bad scheduling situation, especially when you take a look at what the Islanders have done. You mentioned defensively. It's just crazy what they have given up as of late. They played Seattle on Tuesday, shut them out. Day before that, they played Philadelphia, give up 1. Before the All-Star break, they played Vegas, give up 1. Play Detroit, they give up 0. Play Ottawa, they give up 2. And it's just, right now, this defense is tremendous, and you're getting a team who is playing a squad that's tired. You've got to be tired. I mean, you're coming off of the break, you play 3 games in 4 nights, 1 going to overtime, and they've been tight games. So I like the Islanders here from the schedule, or from the looks of the total. Vancouver's been looking pretty good offensively since the coaching change. That's the only thing that keeps me from playing them under in this one. It's an opportunity to play them under, but they are playing pretty well offensively. I like the Islanders. I know the line's a little bit higher here, but the way this team is playing, and Andrew talked about this in the lead-in, it's a team that is really peaking right now, and they made the nice trade that you get to go against each other in this one. So I like the Islanders, as you mentioned, a team on the rise. And, we may look at this game in a week and say, how did they only make that line 225? So I'll take the Islanders here, and it's well worth it to me because I think the line should probably be about 275.
And it will be interesting to see Beauvillier play for the Canucks against the Islanders, and of course Horvat for the Islanders playing against the Canucks. That'll be a cool scenario to see. But I agree. I mean, this is what pricing is all about: looking at the value and trying to find spots you like. And certainly, this Islanders team hasn't met expectations this year. By all means, we think they've been. I mean, I've talked about it. I mean, I have trouble sleeping sometimes. I could just toss on an old Islanders game and fall asleep to that. I mean, they're not really fun Islanders games to watch. I mean, it's typical 2-1, 3-1 games, but they've managed to score goals now. I mean, there was a big performance out of them last game, and I think that back-to-back in 3 and 4 really does affect Vancouver, and it will affect them defensively here in this one. So I'm with you guys. I think I will take a look here at lots of different ways you can play it. You could play the regulation. You could play the money line. You could look at a team total. You could look at a first period. Lots of different ways to approach this game. But, I think it's going to be a tough night for Vancouver, especially if Sorokin plays as well as he is used to playing for the Islanders. Then it will be a tough game for them. Last game to go to here, guys. I'm going to get into the best bet segment. The Vegas Golden Knights and Minnesota Wild here. Minnesota minus 120, Vegas plus 100. Brian, I do believe you were on Vegas a few nights ago. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But speaking of teams that might be undervalued now at a certain point, it seems like the Vegas Golden Knights actually might be getting a bit disrespected in the marketplace. What do you think here about this game?
Yeah, they definitely are in this one. Yeah, they go into the All-Star break losing 4 straight games on the road. And I believe Nashville won 6 of 7. That was a great opportunity for the Vegas. You knew what they were going to play. And if you watched Nashville, they were completely lost. That was one of the worst offensive games of any team I've seen all season long. In fact, they only had 6 shots on goal, and we were in the third period. The record for the Knights in their career is 14 shots on goal, is the best they've ever done. And for the vast majority of that game, it looked like Minnesota was going to take that spot in the record book. And then as the game went on and they started pulling the goalie and that kind of thing, they got there. But Nashville was completely outplayed in that game. I love the way Vegas looked. And, we've kind of talked behind the scenes about this in the past, is the father's games and the mother's games. And I don't have the stats on it. I do know Vegas has never lost a father's game. They're 6-0. Well, they never lost in regulation. 6-0-1 in these father's games, and so they're continuing on. This will be the second of the father's trip. But when you have a team that has their parents with them, it just means more. And the problem is you don't see it a lot of times in the schedule unless you read who's playing. And so every team seems to do very well. I would like to have the numbers. If anybody's out there and they chart this kind of thing, we've talked about this behind the scenes in the past, but we don't know the exact numbers. If anybody knows that, let us know, because I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage of teams here. But I like the way this Vegas team is playing. They got back White Cloud last time out, and White Cloud is a big defender. He's been very good. And they had a stat where if Vegas has all of their top defensive guys going, the big six, as they call it, they've been terrific this year. This means more than that. It's been meant more than having Mark Stone in the lineup. I mean, so when the defense is got the big stars back, Vegas has been tough to beat. Minnesota, coming off of back-to-back losses, they're going to come for this one. I just don't like the way this team's playing. We've seen this all season long. Everybody keeps waiting for Minnesota. They just have not looked good. They've had a little bit of streaks. I think the underdog in Vegas is probably the better side here.
Yeah, that's where I would definitely lean. And as far as the total is concerned, I don't love going over on these 5.5s because we've seen the unders with 5.5s have such success. But I would lean towards the over here. I think we can see a breakout from the Wild, but Vegas, their chemistry seems to be back, and there's just some disrespect right now to them in the market that I might even look at Vegas's team total. At 2.5, you're getting a decent price with that, and a team that I think is more than capable of putting a few goals in the net. So, Carm, what do you think here in this one? Back-to-back situation. Obviously, a Minnesota team not playing to their expectations right now anyway. Should be a good game, though, either way. Carm, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I'm leaning Vegas here, for a couple reasons. Is we talk sometimes about all-star breaks coming at the wrong time for teams who are on a very good run and you want them to continue to go. All-star break came at a great time for the Vegas Golden Knights. They had lost 7 of 8 games. You get a few days off. You get to clear your minds, and they came out and played an absolutely fantastic game against the Nashville Predators. And we look at Mini, not so great out of the All-Star break, but this is their 3rd and 4 nights with travel. They've gone from Arizona to Dallas and now back home to Minnesota, where they've got the Vegas Golden Knights waiting for them. I just think it's a bad spot for Minnesota, and they're giving you such a low price on Minnesota. I think they're welcoming the mini money. I think you got to take the Vegas Golden Knights here. I think they get the win. You're going to see, obviously, Fleury in goal because he did not start for Minnesota. We're going to see Fleury in goal because he did not start that game in Dallas. So for me, it's the Vegas Golden Knights here. I think we're getting a very good price on them. I wish I could get more plus money, and maybe we wait. Maybe we see some mini money come in that I can get the Golden Knights at plus 110, plus 115. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see it happen. But it's the Golden Knights for me. Andrew, one quick thing before we get into the best bet segment of the show. Listen, who else but me would know that today is National Pizza Day, guys? It's National Pizza Day. So I always talk about putting a slice of pizza on a plate. I am going to give you a National Pizza Day parlay. We are going to take the Calgary Flames against the Detroit Red Wings. We're going to take New Jersey against the Seattle Kraken. And we are going to take Florida in regulation, minus 135 against San Jose. You're getting plus 354, I think, odds on that one. So we are going to put some pizza on a 3-team parlay in honor of National Pizza Day.
Carm, you better have some nice words to say about our graphics team, because that is unbelievable. That is just great work. That is awesome stuff right there. I mean, you don't get that on every network.
Look at those
Wager Talk
pepperonis.
TV
The
is
pepperonis
awesome.
are the team. The pepperonis are the team logos. That is absolutely fantastic work by Will, our graphics guy. He everything he does is all aces, man. It's just unbelievable.
Plus 354 for National Pizza Parlay Day. I got to tail you on that one. I got to take that, Carm. I love it. Great stuff there, man. Good show, guys. Lots of great games. There's, of course, a couple more games other than the ones we broke down, but I broke down a pretty good portion of them. And Brian, I think I know where you're going with your best bet, but let's hear it. It's a big game. I'm happy someone is giving a best bet out on in this game. So let's hear what you have for us.
Yeah, we'll go back to one of the games we talked about, and as we've all mentioned, this is a strong card here. I've got 2 plays up right now, including the 5%, and maybe adding some more. I've got 2 college basketball plays also. College basketball been on a terrific run. I'm going to go back to the game we spoke about earlier, and that would be Tampa Bay. Big revenge game, Stanley Cup revenge against Colorado here. Tampa Bay, 3rd game coming back after embarrassing games, losing 7-1 to Florida and then losing to San Jose at home. This is the game that we're pointing towards. That tells me when they play that bad, it tells me they've been looking for this game a long time. So the line's a little bit more than what I would normally like to play, but still, that's the right side. Tampa's the right side in this game. Give me the Lightning plus minus the 125. I believe it is right now for them to get their revenge.
Awesome stuff there. It should be a great game. Look forward to watching that one. And now I have a bet for it. So even better, now I have a pick for it on top of the over I already like there. Guys, check out Brian's 5% play on the ice tonight. I know you don't release too many of those, Brian. You're pretty selective. And 6 years handicapping NHL. Is that what it is? This is your 6th year now.
Yeah.
With an unbelievable record there in the NHL. And consistency to me is the biggest word. It's not about the streaks. Not about, a flashy run here or there. Consistency is the biggest thing, and you've certainly been consistent. So congrats on that, and best of luck tonight, Brian, on that big 5% play. Of course, you can see his short link is right below his name there, wt.buzz/BL, to grab Brian's favorite play of the day here in the NHL. Carm, what do you have for us for your best bet and what's going on for you today at the website?
Yeah, first off, I will say if that pizza parlay hits today for National Pizza Day, I will pick a couple guys in our chat tomorrow and send out some Puck Time t-shirts. 3 plays up in the NHL tonight. I may add a 4th on that. I have a Super Bowl play and props package up. You can get 50% off with CB50 on that one. And as far as my show best bet, I'm going to go to that Florida and San Jose game, and I'm going to take Aaron Ekblad over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 145. 5 straight games, he has gone over his shot total. He's averaging about 4.5 shots on goal. And I expect to see a lot of goals in this one, some back and forth action. So he's going to get some shots on goal for the Panthers. So Aaron Ekblad over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 145 is your show best bet. Let's see if you can make it 4 for 4 this week.
The prop bets continue to cash for you, Carm. I've been tailing along with you. I've been grabbing those ones. Last night, Eriksson Ek, and you've definitely been mixing it up. Not really the same guys each night either. It's been a lot of different guys getting the job done. So good luck there. And make sure you guys check out Carmine, of course, over at wagertalk.com as well. And I'm going to give a shout out to Ralph Michaels because Ralph has a little chart for us. And I wanted to include it because I thought this one was really useful to mention here, guys. When you see a total of 7, it's usually at 7 for a reason because it is a very, very high scoring game and projected to be with 2 teams that can certainly score or just play bad defense. But if you take a look at the record here, guys, with the totals per each season that have been at 7, I mean, 1, 9, and 6, 13, 11, and 10, 2 and 1, 7, 9, 0 and 2, 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 1 and 8. This shows to us that for some reason, guys, the games the odds makers choose to tick up these totals from 6.5 to 7, they've been going under quite a bit. So keep an eye on those for tonight. We do have a 7 in the NHL for tonight. I did want to mention that. But guys, I'm super excited for tonight's slate. I love this slate. I also love the UFC card going this weekend. And of course, you got the NFL Super Bowl going on, of course. So I've got props and all kinds of stuff I'm ready for. But I think it's a great week to check out a 7-day all access or a 3-day come Friday for me, especially with the big game on Sunday and UFC on Saturday. But I had to last minute change my best bet for the show due to an injury on the other team I was looking at. So I've changed mine, and we are now going with the Edmonton Oilers over 3.5 team total goals. I already mentioned it. I talked about how many goals they're scoring. especially when they win. They had 5 against Detroit, 7 against Chicago, 4 against Vancouver, 5 against Tampa, 7 against San Jose. This is a team I can count on to score goals, and I'll do that tonight with Edmonton team total as my best bet here on Puck Time. Carmine has Aaron Ekblad over 2.5 shots on goal, and Brian with Tampa Bay, the Lightning, minus 125 on the money line. Great show today, guys. Thank you to Brian. Thank you to Carmine. I'm Andrew. We'll see you tomorrow.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 58 on February 11th, 2024. From your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper for only $11.99 versus a regular price of $19.99 for a total savings of $800. This limited time super discount basically is 52 weeks at $23 per week, less than the price of one 4% play, coming out to only $3.29 per day. With the cost of a 30-day all-access priced at $2.99, it is almost like getting 8 30-day all-access passes at no additional cost. As an added bonus, your all-access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl, the more additional days you get for free.